Welcome to the typical Skeptic podcast, where we dive deep, you decide. Questioning the matrix, from UFOs, where the shadows alone reside. Rob Khalil busting myths like ghosts in the night. Paranormal pros, secret space ops, yo, we keep it real, no fright. Typical skeptical, seeking, never sleeping on the lies. Aliens, Anunnaki, black ops in disguise. From abductions to ancient scripts, we flip the script wide. TSP style, mile after mile, truth can't hide. Hold up, TSP crew assemble, we dismantle the fable. My lab's targeted souls, breaking out of the stable. Dogman howling, Bigfoot prowling, cryptids in the mist. Mandela the fifth, twisting reality, can't resist the twist. Soul trap snapping, reincarnation mapping, holographic dreams. Near-death visions, out-of-body missions, waking up the teams. No censorship here, we fear no elite scheme. Conspiracy kings ringing bells, hear the freedom ring. The skeptical seeking, never sleeping on the lies. Extraterrestrials, interdimensional highs.
Welcome to Typical Skeptic Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. You have to bear with me. My mouse broke. I gotta walk to the store and get a new mouse today at some point. Or I gotta go to Staples or something. Or maybe I can order one off Amazon. But I hate using this mouse pad. But tonight we're going deep. I originally had this titled something different, but like I still have her bio right. We have with us the amazing Kimberly Lusanna. This is the first. She's been on my show before for a group podcast, but this is the first time she's being a solo show, you know. And the title of the show is Super Soldier Recruitment Process. And I welcome Kimberly Lusanna. She's an advanced remote viewer, psychic intuitive healer, teacher, and self-described super soldier, MyLab experiencer, whose extraordinary story reaches into some of the most controversial alleged Black Project narratives we've ever explored. Kimberly says her experiences began at childhood and eventually connected with covert programs, underground facilities, and conscious experimentation on the secret space program. Tonight, we're diving into her story and asking the difficult questions. And I'm really excited. I think my mic just went out. But let me see here. Let me bring her to the stage. And bear with me, guys, because I'm using a mouse pad. And this is a great time to support the show, by the way. Okay. Anyway, so here we go. Bringing Kim to the stage. Kim, thanks so much. Do you go by Kim or Kimberly, or is both good, or either one?
Kimberly, please.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, Kimberly.
Oh,
thank you so much for coming back on, coming back on. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm excited for this. It's really interesting. Like, I want to see how people are recruited into these programs, and it sounds like you have a fascinating story. Or life, actually, you know.
Well, so before we begin with that, I just want to say that today, August 12th, is a very important date for all Montauk inductees. August 12th, 1983 was the resetting of the time loop. And that was August 12th, 1983. And it was reset back then. And so every 20 years on August 12th, the biorhythms of the earth change, and we have to keep up with those biorhythms. So it's been 43 years since we got back on the correct timeline. Wow. So I just want to say thank you for having me on the show on this particular day. Because this particular day is very important to me, and we'll get into that later. But also, James Rink and I did a Montauk anniversary show every single year for many years. And this is the first year that I'm doing it without him. Oh my gosh. I promised myself I wasn't going to, get too emotional, but so I'm just really glad that I was able to come on here and to keep up with the tradition of doing a Montauk show on August 12th. So thank you for having me on this particular day.
Absolutely. And I really felt highly about James. I really honor James's work, and I really like James a lot. And I'm trying to plug this in. I really, I used to have James on my show, and I miss him and Renetta a lot. I really do. Renetta Jones and James Rink, they meant a lot to me, and I try to honor their work by, posting old shows and stuff like that. But they're missed, for real. Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah. So I got my mouse to start working. So okay. So should I share the screen now?
Yeah, absolutely. So
okay.
So what I did was as you probably already know, I have a very large practice, and I get a lot of questions, not only from my clients, but from people that view my videos. And they have lots of questions about actually how this process works. How do I end up in these programs? How does this go down? So I decided to lay it out as linearly as possible. So I'm going to try to bring you guys through the process. It's not a very precise process, but it'll give you guys an understanding of how this moves along in time.
Absolutely. So just tell me when you want me to move on. I'll move to the first slide here.
Okay, please do. Okay, so that's too small for me to read. So I've got a hard copy here that
wait, let me see if I can. There, is that bigger? Is that better?
No, no, it needs to be really big. That's okay. I've got it right here. So
for the audience, maybe this will be better for them. Maybe they can wait. I'm gonna make it bigger on the screen too.
Okay.
Wait, there it is. Can you see better now, or is that?
No, it would need to be really, really big.
Okay. I can't.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Hopefully the audience can see it now or whatever. I don't know why it's not. If I make it bigger, then I can't toggle to share the stuff.
Okay. Okay, that's it's kind of readable now. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So what's going on is I've opened up with I start off the presentation with the abduction, and the abduction for children, and we're not talking about adults that have been abducted. These are strictly children. They're usually abducted around the age of 4, 5, and 6. And so I go through, and this is a listing of some of the ways in which the Black projects and the SSP, all the programs, get a hold of these children. And so we'll start with the first one, which says that, the physical bloodlines and genetic tracking and tracing through multiple agencies and military organizations over time. Okay, so this is referring to times past, World War I, World War II. They had, let's just call it the government, and the agencies didn't really have a way to recruit people, a system, as it were. So what they did instead was to track and trace the people that were in the military. So anybody serving in World War I, World War II, training, if you were a contractor for the military, if you were a secretary for the military, if you were a caterer for the military, they tracked everybody. And when they tracked these people, they were tracking them generationally. So if your great grandfather was in World War 9 times out of 10, and if he was in the programs, they're going to be following you, your family, and everybody that's in it. So again, that's how they used to do it. They've obviously improved upon this processes. So the next step that they developed, it's called Project Surrogate. Now, Project Surrogate is a whole different animal, and I'll try to explain it, as simply as I can. So, Project Surrogate it's an interruption of the death cycle. So, when the vehicle, the body, perishes, the soul complex, the energy, goes back up to what they call the oversoul. So it's very much like a laptop and a server. Okay. So again, when the laptop gets shut down, it transfers all of the information to the server, and that's where it's stored. Well, the black projects and the SSP interrupt that process. So they take the original soul in the body. If that body dies, that soul complex is not allowed to go back up to the oversoul. They cut that off. They take the soul complex, they reverse age it, and then insert the fetus into another program inductee. Okay, so we'll use my life as an example because that's the information that I have. So, for instance, I am a Project Surrogate inductee, and we won't talk about my past life that I had recently died from, but they interrupted that process. They aged me and then inserted me into my current mother. And so that started off a new cycle. So again, this is not a regular incarnation. It's a forced incarnation, one that the secret space program likes to. Okay, so the agencies and the programs, they can't necessarily choose. Okay, they can't, and there's some debate about this, whether or not they can choose or not choose your parents and or your circumstances. So the way I see it, and what's been shown to me, is that what they do is they just, Rob, the CIA is really coming down on me. They're choking me. This is something they do to me, so just bear with me. They choke me out, I cough, I sneeze. It's just a distraction. Okay, so what was I saying? Project
You were
Surrogate.
in the middle of Surrogate. You're talking about
right.
Project
So they
Surrogate.
inserted me into my mother, and then I proceeded on with this life. Okay, so I didn't go back up to the oversoul. Nothing got downloaded back in, on the other side. So all the Project Surrogates come back in with a tremendous amount of baggage, because when your soul complex is able to go back up to the oversoul, it downloads everything from that previous life. It clears it out. Well, Project Surrogate keeps all of that information inside the soul complex. So the individuals have more than one lifetime to contend with when they come, when they become older.
Well, I would say, like, who's running this? Like, did you say it's like aliens or something? It would have to be like beings who have longer lifespans than us to like track this stuff, right? Or would it be like handed down through agencies or something like that?
Both. So as you know, that there's a certain portion of the population that has access to a lot of technology, age reversal technology, med beds, all of that. Okay, so the stuff that you and I are not allowed to utilize, they are. Also, they have tremendous amount of databases and information. They keep this stored. So it's not really tracked by one person. It's tracked by the agency, the CIA, the NSA, things like that. So they don't need to have a longer lifestyle. They just need to know who you are and your genealogical references.
Okay. See, I always thought that Project Stargate had something to do with the hybridization program. I don't know why I thought that. Like I was off. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no. It's really just about redirecting individuals in the program. So they, let me just finish this also. The parent thing, do you get to choose your parents? Well, I don't think the secret space program gets to choose your parents. However, I do believe, and I've been shown this as well, is that they do choose the worst version of your family unit that's available in the timeline. So the worst version is where they're going to put you back. You're not going to get the best, you're going to get the worst. Okay. So that already starts everybody off on a really difficult, setting.
Timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Project Green Star. Project Green Star is, and I also should say that a lot of this work in this material was done in collaboration with James. And so I'm also really happy to be presenting some of this because it's some of his work as well. And I do have to say that James was he was a walking encyclopedia for projects. So I never really memorized the projects. So he was much better at that. So Project Green Star, from what I can remember, and the last time James and I talked about this was years ago, but I'm pretty sure that Project Green Star was the CIA. It was their tasked assignments to pick up children, abduct them, kidnap them, drug them from just about anywhere they could find them. It was a huge sweeping effort. Okay, so there's a lot of kids that got swept up in Project Green Star. And it works differently, than Project Stargate. You're already in the project. Project Green Star is looking for new recruits. Okay. So let's talk about the GATE program. Everybody knows about the GATE program, the Gifted and Talented program. Now, this was started in the 1970s, and this was a program that was rolled out to all elementary school children in the United States, and I believe in Canada as well. And so what they did is they came up with a standardized test, and this test was actually a psychological exam for creative children. And the reason why they're looking for creative children is because the creative children are the psychic children. So they went through and they tested all of these kids, and they grabbed all of the creative children and put them in this program called the GATE program. And they took you away, and you got out of school, and they did a bunch of, exercises with you, like giving you 10 circles, and you're supposed to draw whatever comes to mind in these circles. Or if they gave you a pack of chewing gum, what would you call it? What would it look like? Things like that. Okay, so while they were doing that to the children, they were also testing their hearing, their psychic ability, all of these things. Once they found out, yes, in fact, this child is psychic, then they removed the children from the schools in vans and moved them to military bases. And this is where the testing began, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay, so and I believe the GATE program went on through the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. So okay, so let's do the off-world and surface planet AI. Okay, so again, the owners of this planet, which are the reptilians, the grays, and the negative Andromedans. So it's a big mixture. They're not all on the same page. There is fighting amongst them. But what they all do have in common is that they have different types of off-world AI, and it's put around the planet in layers. Okay, and it exists right now, and it has existed for thousands and thousands of years. AI has always been here, okay? But this is a negative AI, and this negative AI actually helped launch the surface planet AI, ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, whatever. Okay, so that off-world technology is now being utilized to track and trace all of us. Okay, they don't need they don't need the testing, they don't need any of that anymore. They've got it to a science. And they also, in addition to that, they've rolled out a couple of other programs for the public. 23andMe and Ancestry.com are both utilized by the programs to track and trace individuals and their families. This is not, I would not call it positive. I would call this very negative. They have your DNA. They can, of course, create viruses that are, designer viruses that can take out you and your family just from your DNA. Okay, so they're mapping all of us through these applications, 23andMe and Ancestry.com. Okay, all right, so that's kind of the basics, how they get the kids into the programs. So what happens after they identify an individual, after they've been abducted and identified as a possible asset? What happens after that? Well, the kids are brought to underground bases. They're brought to, for me, I lived in the Midwest. There's a huge underwater base in Lake Michigan. It's huge. And this is a hub. Okay. So all of the Midwest is funneled through the Lake Michigan center. Also, Langley, Virginia's another big processing center, and the Getty Museum is also a processing center, but we're not going to get into those right now. That's later. Okay, so once they get you in the underground bases, and let's just say we're under Lake Michigan, this is where the fun starts. Okay, so these kids, 4, 5, and 6, they are what's called mind map. That's the first thing that goes on. Now, mind mapping is done by everybody, and it is an AI tool, extremely advanced. It started off, I think Monarch Solutions actually developed the mind mapping. They're the psychological warfare department. We're going to talk about Monarch later. But for now, mind mapping is the complete 3D imaging of your mind completely, and in all aspects and in all layers. So they're able to map out emotions, fears, joys, anger, triggers, all of it. They know everything. They know basically to a level of detail that I can't even describe. They know it all. Okay, so once they mind mapped you, this will tell them everything they need to know about this child and what the best options, okay, to move them forward are. That's how they find it out. So the mind mapping's done. Then once they find out what this child is all about, then the torture protocols are applied. Now, the torture protocols are, they're not done just for fun. They're done for a specific reason. And these agencies, okay, so the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, all of them, they have, they've come up with, okay, certain protocols that are able to fracture children's minds. Okay. And so after the mind mapping is done, they know which torture protocols are going to get them to the mind fracturing process as fast as possible. So let me give you an example of some of the torture protocols. And this is going to be harsh, but this is what it is. So the torture protocols include, okay, so let me just back up for a second. Why are they torturing the children? Okay, they're torturing the children because once you fracture their little mind, that releases, okay, a core energy, that contains the Tootsie Roll Pop middle. Okay, they're looking for the ooey gooey center. They're looking for what abilities this child has. After they fracture you, they're able to find out this child can fly. This child has telekinesis. This child can manipulate weather. This child can move mountains. Okay, so they're looking for these things. So that's where the torture protocols come in. They need to get to that quickly. So they know how fast a child will be under duress and unravel. Okay. And they do this by either putting the child in the same room with family or friends, and they put a gun in their hand, and they're asked to make a decision to kill either friends or family. They're asked to kill pets. They're asked to kill children. They're asked to kill animals. And again, I know this is harsh, but I think it needs to be talked about. And so once they find out what is going to fracture your mind, then they move you on and the mind fracturing begins. Okay, so let's go to the next screen.
Okay. I'll go to there and then we'll move down.
That's fine. Okay, so mind fracturing. Okay. So I have a lot of clients who remember the mind fracturing. Some of the kids born after, I would say, 1984. These kids remember goggles. Okay, they would put goggles on children, and this is how they fracture their mind. There's a zillion ways to do this, but once they have mind fracture you, and I'll give you an example of what that is. Okay, so your soul complex is the energy inside the body. What they're looking to do is they're looking to grab a fraction of that soul complex. And in order to do that, what they have to do is, again, they fracture the mind using torture protocols. And once the mind fracturing has been successful and they know exactly what you're capable of, that moves us on to the next process. Now, I should say that when they mind fractured me, they found out that I could bend space and time. So, of course, they found that to be usable in their projects. So that determines where I go next. Okay, so after the fracturing is done, they find out what your hidden abilities are. So let me give you this example too. If your soul complex was like a windshield, okay, the mind fracturing process takes a hammer and cracks the windshield. And once they crack that windshield, they take a little bitty piece of glass or your soul complex, and they upload that into a computer system. Now they have the ability to clone you out, exact person that you are, minus the soul complex. Okay, so they can just keep making copies of you. And that's what they start to do.
It's like they're building altars. They're building other altars of you, right?
Yes, and we're getting to that. That's exactly what they're doing. Okay, so now you've been mind fractured. Okay, so the next thing is the creation of the altar structure. Now, the internal altar structure is after the mind has been fractured, and some of the people who are watching this may have recall of being mind fractured, not the actual process of being mind fractured, but the mind fracturing actually cuts the soul off from the oversoul, not completely, but they hack into it. Okay, so it's not it's not whole, it's not complete. Okay, it's disjointed and distorted. Okay, so during this distortion, what they do is they download the internal file structure for your altars. Now, there is a finite number, I believe, of altars that they can create. It's called compartmentalization. Okay, so they make these separate compartments. They're walled off from each other, and each compartment has a personality, a separate personality. So what they do is they start building that altar from scratch. For whatever their needs. It could be anything. So this would be the internal altar structure. There's also an external altar structure that comes later. Okay. So after that folder, after it's like creating a folder structure on your computer. After that's done, you can start filling up the folders with whatever you want, with all the programming, all the training, whatever it is. Okay. So after the folder structures download, MK Ultra programming then begins. Okay, so they start programming you immediately. They start programming the internal altars. They program you before they bring you home. So this goes on for whatever they need. Okay, they can just keep doing this. So let me give you some examples, okay, of some MK Ultra programs that are common, that get downloaded into your folder structure so for some of these personalities. Okay, so there's sex kitten programming, which I think people have heard. I'm not going to get too deep into what each of these are, but sex kitten programming, dominatrix programming. We've got Crown of Thorns programming, which is savior programming. We've got lone wolf programming. Okay, so each of these things do a very specific personality, behavioral situation, and then they wall that off, and they can at any time call those altars back up. Okay, so the next step is after you're all set with your programming and they've got everything set up, and this is where it gets kind of strange. So there is clone ownership. Okay, so everybody in the programs, everybody has either a military corporation, the military, a space fleet, an intelligence agency. Any of those can own clones. So basically, and I'll just use Monarch as an example. So Monarch finds out that you have telekinesis. Well, they decide that's what they want. So they go ahead and purchase your clones, okay? They own your clone. So if anybody else wants to utilize that clone, they have to go to Monarch to get that, okay? So there's an exchange. So the ownership also determines how you're utilized, when you're utilized, how much you're utilized, and it goes back to ownership, okay? So what is the next thing? Is it the CIA?
Yeah.
Oh, the CIA children's camps. Okay, so this is fun. The CIA children's camps are just unbelievable. Okay, so the CIA children's camps are when in between the ages of 4 and 10, okay? You're not necessarily in the projects as a full member. What they do is during the ages from 4 to 10, this is what they call the golden years, okay, of programming. So if they're going to make you into an assassin, okay, as one of your altars, they need to train you for that. And so as a child, it's not so much going out in space and, killing bad guys. It's more along the lines of the CIA, the NSA, the military corporations. They've come up with these children's camps. Okay. And so I'll give you an example. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz camp was around when I was coming up through the programs. And what they would do is after they mind fracture you and they find out all these things, then they send you off to camp. And Alice in Wonderland is another one, but Wizard of Oz is it's a type of programming. Okay. And so you go through that, and those will ultimately train you for whatever they want you to do. There's also like an Alice in Wonderland camp. There's an It camp. Okay, so this is a fun one. This is where they scare the bejesus out of children in clown outfits and Freddy Krueger masks. And they also have the hunting lodges. Okay, this is where, the children are set free to roam in the woods. And then the next thing you know, they're being hunted. Okay, so these camps go on, and these mini training programs. And I think I remember James being in one of these camps in Alaska. And I think he did a whole show on it. But anybody who has SSP historical knowledge will know this. But anyway, so again, once you're out of the camps, then the new external structure process begins. Okay, so the mind fracturing protocols. Okay, I should let you guys know that the children, or let's just say human beings, cannot be mind fractured. They can, but just for this example, in the programs, they don't mind fracture you outside of the age of 10. Okay, so again, from 4 until 10 is the golden years. This is when they start to, and we're going to talk about this, they start to change your core personality. Because you're so young, because you're still very much connected to the other side, your abilities, your everything is very much heightened. Okay, and so after the age of 10, start to reach puberty, that's over. Okay, and they move you on to the next process. So again, only the children under the age of 10 are being mind fractured. I also should talk about the mind fracturing. What it does is it creates a block, lack of a better term, between you and your higher self. Not that you can't reach it, you can, okay? It's just distorted to a degree that's very difficult to understand as a child. So they go through and they literally change who you are. And they bring that forward. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Is it still sharing?
Okay, so let me just see where, okay. So again, the mind fracturing changes the core personality, and what the protocols end up doing is giving people or children, they return home with what's called, dissociative identity disorder. And this is, or multiple personality disorder, okay? And this is where the internal alters, okay, come into play. So the internal alters can be called up at any point. You also, as an individual, can switch in between alters. They have all sorts of methods for you to actually just move in and out of these alters without you even knowing about it, okay? So.
Wow.
All right. So what's next? Let's talk about.
Should I move to the next slide?
I'm sorry.
Should I move to the next slide?
Yes, please.
Okay, I got to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be off screen. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's been like, we've gone through. I haven't even gotten through to the Montauk stuff, and it's been like 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, we can always do a part 2 if we have to, but we're not ending yet. I just got to go to the bathroom. Keep going.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. So let me start off with the surface military, and I'm just going to briefly go over this because everybody pretty much knows about the military branches and what makes up the programs. Okay, so got the military branches, which is Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Okay, and everybody should know that there are actually 2 levels to the military branches, and so we'll use the obviously American military as an example. So we have what's called the surface military. That's the one. That's the public facing military that everybody sees. It's when you're 18, you can sign up to go in the military. Blah blah blah. Okay, so that's one part of it. There is also a second level to some of these agencies. Okay, so for instance, the Navy, has the surface branch, and then there are 2 other branches above that. Okay, so let's see, I'll use Space Force. So we've got the surface military, then the second level would be something like Space Force. This is more advanced military tech. Some we haven't seen, some we have. It's not too crazy. Then there's another level above Space Force, and that level has got even more tech. And I would say that, they've got the mind erasers, they've got the med beds, they've got time travel, they've got anti-gravitics, they've got all sorts of gadgets that the rest of the military below them does not have. So again, these levels, don't know about each other. So the second level of the military doesn't know the third level exists, and the third level doesn't believe that the next level exists, and the next level would be Solar Warden. Now, Solar Warden doesn't have anything to do with our surface military, but Solar Warden would be the next logical step up. Okay, so we've got 2 levels of the military that that are not visible to the public. We also have space fleets. I'm just giving you guys some examples. We're going to get into some of these space fleets later. Solar Warden, Dark Fleet, the ICC, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate. This is the Cabal's space fleet, if everybody didn't know about that. There's also the European Space Agency, the Chinese Space Agency, and the Russian space fleets. They all have space fleets. Okay, so the next the next part would be the intelligence agencies. Now, the intelligence agencies, like the military, have multiple levels, and one level doesn't necessarily know about the other. So again, the CIA, NSA, DHS, DIA, DARPA is a whole nother, we'll get into DARPA later. That is not a normal agency. FBI and the NRO. Okay, so all of these agencies have the surface public-facing agencies, and then they have another level up. And this level up is where we get into the clones and the alters and the tech and the mind wiping. Okay, so the second level of these agencies have that. Okay, so I also want to include MI6 and MI5, same gig, the Russian FSB, which is like the Russian CIA, they have the same thing, and the Chinese CIA also has the same thing. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next part, which would be the military corporations. And in my presentation, I list Monarch, Kruger, and Umbrella. Okay, we're going to go into these more deeply later on in the.
I'm back. I'm back. We can.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. So yeah, keep going. I made it down to okay, right there. Okay, so I made it down to Monarch, Kruger, and Umbrella. Okay, so we'll talk about these corporations later, but these are the big three. Okay, these I would say are the heavy hitters. Most of my, the people that I remote view for have cloned all of these agencies. Okay, and I think I used to give people the amount of clones that they had out at any given time in one of these agencies. So that's pretty interesting. But okay, so let's talk about the program tagging levels. Okay, so this is the program tagging levels are a general category for how much money is going to be spent on you, what kind of training you're going to have, and where you're going to be located. Okay, so for instance, it's green tagged, blue tagged, and yellow tagged. Green tagged is when your Black Project, your SSP profile is made up of mostly, surface operations and organizations, meaning you're utilized mostly on the surface of the planet by the CIA, NSA, Chinese FS, the Chinese CIA, the Russian FSB, the militaries, all levels of the military, it's surface. Okay, so if you're blue tagged, and the green tagged is, I would say, probably, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's probably the least amount of money being spent on inductees being green tagged. The next level up would be blue tagged, and this is a combination of being in the surface organizations and the space fleet. So not only are you being utilized in the CIA, MI6, you're being utilized in, the IDF or the Russian FSB. Okay, so it's kind of a mixture of both. And if you're blue tagged, there's a higher dollar amount associated with the training from blue tagged super soldiers. The last category would be yellow tag super soldiers. Now, the yellow tag super soldiers are what we would literally call the super soldier program. And we kind of use the word super soldier to cover a whole lot of bases. And that's really not necessarily true. The super soldier program is a very specific program in the projects. Okay, so the yellow tag super soldiers have the most amount of money invested in them, and they're utilized in every area of the programs everywhere. So again, if you're yellow tagged, you're going to be highly targeted. These are the super soldiers that have movies. Okay, these are the super soldiers. James is a yellow tag super soldier. Okay, so just to give you an example. So this is important because if you're yellow tagged, you'll never get your correct medical records. Just letting you guys know, if you are yellow tagged, you will never ever see the correct medical records on the surface of the planet. They hijack them and they rewrite them and they omit things. So just an FYI, for the yellow tag super soldiers, they need to be very careful about doctors and medical facilities. Okay, so all right, let's move on. We're going to move on to the off-world military corporations. And Rob, if you want to scroll up.
Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna so they can see them. I'm gonna move that over a little bit because they can see all three.
Okay, so what you can't read at the bottom. Okay, so Monarch Solutions, okay, is responsible. They're the creators of the MK Ultra program. They're negatively oriented. Kruger Mercenary Corps is responsible for the Kruger Runner program. They are neutrally orientated. Okay, Umbrella Corporation. They're responsible for the biological warfare programs on the planet for thousands of years. They have a negative orientation. Okay, so next slide. Okay, Monarch Solutions. I'm just quickly going to run through this because everybody can look this up. Okay, Monarchs, they're 6,000 years old. Their main hub, their main HQ headquarters is located underneath the city of Toronto. Kevin Spacey is a clone of the CEO of Monarch Solutions, Paul Serene. It's negatively oriented. Monarch Solutions' main objective is to create the ultimate slave system to control and dominate humanity. Okay, that's it. Monarch is responsible for the Montauk Project as well as the partnership with Darkfleet. Okay, they have a partnership with Darkfleet. We'll get into that later. Monarch utilizes time-space technology to manipulate Earth's timelines to maximize chaos and enslavement. Okay, so
Holy
they're
shit.
part of our timeline issue. Okay, Kruger Mercenary Corps, established in our timeline in 1815 by a man named Gabriel Kruger, who time traveled to 1920 to contact his relatives. He time traveled, contacted his relatives, went back. That's how this got started. Okay. Kruger is a neutral orientation. It comes from a parallel Earth reality. Okay, so Kruger specializes in augmentation of the body. These are the clones. Okay, they have I have an alter in Kruger as a lead clone programmer. The runners are clones. Okay. The augmentation of the body gives greater speed, agility, and strength. These are the runners. Okay. Kruger runners are often utilized as espionage and sabotage agents and missions. Their incredible speed allows them to infiltrate facilities. They can steal intelligence and sabotage key targets extremely effectively. Okay, they're quick. They're runners. Okay, next slide. The Umbrella Corporation, founded in 1876 by Dr. Oswald Spencer, negatively oriented, parallel reality Earth. It was founded to be a premier leader in biological, chemical, and virological warfare. Okay, some of the viruses that they are responsible for: the T virus, the Ouroboros virus, the V virus, which is the G virus. Okay, and Umbrella was the creator of Agent Orange and White Phosphorus in Vietnam. Okay, and
Wow.
yeah. They're also responsible for every major viral outbreak in the 20th century. Okay.
Wow.
So including the bubonic plague in, I can't remember was it the 14th century? What was bubonic plague? They were responsible for that. So, okay. So this next slide happens to be my personal service record. Now, it is not, of course, it's not linear. I tried to put it in some sort of linear fashion, but it's only a small portion of it. But again, I was at Montauk from 1974 till 1978. That was stage one. We'll get into Montauk later. The Kruger, then I was shipped off to Kruger, okay, as a Kruger runner in 1978. Then Darkfleet, then back to Montauk for stage two. Then the Umbrella Corporation, and I do have to say that I've completed at least 3 20 and backs. And we're going to talk about the 20 and back program. It is not linear and it is not successionary. Okay. All right. So some of the clones so now we're talking about external alters. These are my external alters, which were created, okay, after the age of 10. All right. So Umbrella is the corporation that owns my clones. So anybody that wants to use any of my clones has to go to the Umbrella Corporation. Okay. So the Umbrella Corporation created Dr. William Birkin. If you're familiar with the Resident Evil series, okay. Obviously, Dr. Birkin, I'm a female. Dr. Birkin is a male. That doesn't matter. I was the adopted son of the founder of Umbrella. Okay, the next external alter is Johnny Tran from the Fast and the Furious film series. He was basically a criminal, a drug runner, and a gang member. And the another external alter of mine is actually from the Umbrella Academy, the Netflix series. And number 5 is a very interesting alter, and we can get into that later. But you should know that all of these corporations have multiple alters of you, okay? And it all just depends on what they're using them for. All right, so let's go to the next page. Okay, so Dr. William Birkin, let's talk about him. All right, so he's a human male of me, okay? He is at a parallel reality Earth. He's the adopted son of the founder of the Umbrella Corporation, Dr. Oswald. Birkin was educated and trained by Dr. Oswald Spencer. He was the youngest scientist ever recruited by the Umbrella Corporation. Dr. Birkin was the creator of the G virus. We're going to talk about that in a second. Dr. William Birkin died by lethal self-injection of the G virus. And notice that 1989 was the ending of my Umbrella, my time with Umbrella, and Dr. Birkin happened to die in 1989. So it does correlate. Lots of things do correlate with your life in your regular life. Let's just call it that. I should also point out that I have a picture at the bottom here of, it says RLSW. And in that picture is an Umbrella logo. And I have to tell you that this sign came directly from the signage outside the labs of Wuhan. Okay, so Umbrella is running the chem labs out of Wuhan. And I should also make an inference, okay, to the fact that the G virus is exactly the same thing as another virus that was rolled out to the public in 2020. Okay, same tech. Dr. William Birkin was the inventor of the, I don't know if we can even say it, of the C19 technology. Okay.
Yeah.
So once again, what?
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, because it might. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will. We're going to move on from that. Okay. Okay, Johnny Tran. Okay, so Johnny Tran works for the Chinese CIA. He's a negative. This is the negative dragon family. It's the green dragons, another human male of mine, another parallel reality Earth. He's the son of the head of the Little Saigon Vietnamese crime family. He's the co-leader of a criminal gang in Los Angeles with his cousin. He's known for driving a Honda S2000. And he is mostly a drug runner, a stolen vehicle, and gang member. Okay.
So he can probably do that Tokyo Drift, or you probably can do that Tokyo Drift stuff, right? Or something.
Oh, yeah.
I had to make that joke. Like, I like the joke sometimes, but no, I remember that movie. That was a cool movie. That was like, yeah. Sorry.
It was. Okay, so the last altar that we're going to talk about is number 5 in the Umbrella Academy. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because James and I, before he passed, we were going to do a show on the Umbrella Academy, and obviously that hasn't happened. So I'm just going to talk about it right now. Okay, so again, another human male clone of me, parallel reality Earth. Number 5 is one in a grouping of superpowered children. Now, he was a master assassin. He was able to teleport long and short distances, and his ability was the ability to manipulate space and time. Okay, so obviously that's ability of mine, so that just got transferred to number 5. Okay, let's move on to the Montauk Project. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, Rob.
You don't have to. It's okay. Like if we have until 7:00 Eastern. We have until like another hour. If we need to do in part 2, we can. It's not. Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. Okay, so okay, so my cards are flying. Okay, so the Montauk Project. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so the Montauk Project. There are 3 evolutionary stages to the Montauk Project. We've got the Montauk Boys. Okay, now the Montauk Boys were this program was run through the 1960s, and this was the very beginning of the Montauk Project. They had really no idea what they were doing, and they believed at that time that only males were psychic. So they were just recruiting boys in the 1960s. Okay, so the next stage would be 1970 to 1979. This is Montauk Stage 1. Now, this is what they call Montauk proper, and this is really where all of the time travel experiments and learning how to work the chair took place. This is where the kids were staying in the barracks, and they were put through all of these crazy experiments. This was done, at Montauk Stage 1. It was also the place where Junior was created, which destroyed Montauk Stage 1. We can get into that later. Montauk 2.0, that was 1980 to 1988. That's Brookhaven Labs. Okay, so after Montauk 1.0 was destroyed, they came in and built Montauk 2. Now, Brookhaven's labs only ran until about 1987, 88. Okay, so, and this is not the ending of the Montauk Project. We're going to talk about what happened after that. Okay, so Montauk 2.0 got shut down after about 87, 88. Okay, who was recruited for the Montauk Project? There were 2 types of recruitment groups. Okay, there were the psychic children. Okay, and this is, again, Project, the Gate Project was bringing in lots of children. Project Green Star was bringing in a lot of children. And what they were looking for were, obviously psychic children that could operate the chair, but what they also needed, what were called battery pack children. Okay, and the battery pack children were the children that were utilized alongside the trip, what they call the trip chair, the Montauk chair, the time travel chair. Okay, so alongside that chair, there was what they would call a battery pack child. And unfortunately, these battery pack children were utilized by the chair operator. They would have to drain the life force energy out of the child next to them to get the chair to operate. Okay. So again, every time they operated the chair until they figured it out, a child was dying. That's number 1. Number 2, not everybody, this is also pretty fun, is that there was a good, or let's just say a high probability that if you got into the chair yourself, not being a battery pack child, that you would be killed yourself. Okay, so we had the battery pack children. We had the children that died in the chair, utilizing the chair. Okay, so hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children in the 70s were being buried by the children, the chair operators that were currently at Montauk. Okay, so those are the 2 groups. We found out, that there are only 76 life streams that have ever operated the trip chair from all 3 stages, meaning Montauk Boys, Montauk 1, Montauk 2. Okay, just those 3. Only 76 life streams ever. Yeah. Okay, so The next thing is, okay, so August 12th, 1983, the Philadelphia experiment, time loop closure. Okay, so today is a biorhythm day. Today is a Montauk day because it's August 12th. Okay, so again, the biorhythms sync up, and it's a total eclipse today too. So this should be interesting. And so again, I was the child in the chair on August 12th, 1983, that opened up the portal for the Philadelphia experiment. I opened up the portal and sent Duncan and Al back to 1943, okay, to the Eldridge. Okay, so that is, so this date to me personally is a big date. Okay, so, so again, there are what they call chair operators. There were 76 chair operators minus Duncan Cameron, Al Bielek, Stuart Swerdlow. So 73 chair operators. Okay, so in those 73 chair operators, I was chair operator number 1. All right, which means that I spent the most amount of time in the chair than anybody else. Everybody else was time traveling. I'm in the chair opening up the portals. Okay, so the next slide is the chair operators from all 3 stages were subject to mind fracturing and MK Ultra programming. So if you are a Montauk kid, you are mind fractured and programmed, without a doubt, with alters. Okay, so I think we all know that. Okay, so children that were trained as chair operators in Montauk stage 1 ended up being the handlers, okay, for the kids at Brookhaven Labs, Montauk stage 2. Okay, so again, James was at Montauk stage 2. I was his handler. I was one of his handlers. Okay, so let's talk about, okay, so by Montauk stage 2, the battery pack children, they had solved that problem. They understood how to work everything. And so the battery pack children were no longer needed. Then after that, Brookhaven Labs was closed down. Now, this doesn't mean that the Montauk time travel program wasn't closed down. It actually moved. And so again, there is it's called Montauk West, and Montauk West is located in San Francisco in the Presidio district in an underground base. So the flow for that is, and I think we should talk about this too, and James also made reference to this, the Getty Museum in LA is the largest full-scale underground bunker system in the United States, if not the world. It is massive, massive. So the staging area for Montauk West would have been the Getty Museum. And I just have to give a shout out to Occupy the Getty. Okay. They're doing really great work because there's a lot of children trafficked out of the Getty. So again, people were taken down underneath the Getty and then transported up to the Presidio, okay, where Montauk West is. And this is where we run into a person named Michael Aquino. There's lots of people, I'm sure, watching this that know who Michael Aquino is. He is the founder of the Church of Set. He was a major in the military and the person running Montauk West. Okay, so I have a lot of clients. Okay, so if you're born after 1984, you were not at Montauk 1 and you were not at Montauk 2. You would have been at Montauk West, okay, under the Presidio, or Montauk South, which we're going to talk about. Montauk South is located in Pine Gap, Australia. Now, this is the largest facility on planet, without a doubt. lots and lots of kids were brought to Pine Gap, trained on the chair. I have lots of clients who have memories of this. Okay, so we've got Montauk West and Montauk South, which continued on after the closing of Montauk proper. Let's see what else. Project Looking Glass. I'm just going to quickly touch on Project Looking Glass. Project Looking Glass is an umbrella project for lots of different things. So again, you could have been in Project Looking Glass at the Montauk labs and been in, because there's lots of projects going on in Montauk, but not always chair related. There are other timeline searches, training, experimentation, lots of stuff. So, we refer to these people as peripheral Montaukers. Okay, so they were there, they were just not chair operators. Okay, so the next thing is the Stanford Research Institute. Now, people don't often talk about these Montauk and Stanford Research Institute together, but they are very much connected. Okay, so Russell Targ and Hal Puthoff founded this remote viewing investigation and discovery of the SSI Institute in 1972. Okay, so 1972, they've got this whole facility set up for remote viewers. Okay, it was funded by DARPA under Project Stargate, and all of the chair operators, all of Project Looking Glass individuals that were on Montauk and other time or remote viewing operations, they were also at SRI. So as I remote viewed SRI, it wasn't separate. It was a funneling system. So if you were able to operate the chair, SRI was also very interested in you. So again, everybody that was at Montauk also has a profile at Stanford Research Institute. Okay, so, and now, I forgot to talk about the DARPA hashtag projects. Maybe we'll get into that later. Okay, so the last page of my presentation talks about the 20 and back program and the return back home. Okay, so I've already explained that after the age of 9, that's really when the external alters and the cloning process begins. Okay, so once you're starting to be cloned out, that's really when your SSP record starts. Okay, so this is when Monarch picks you up. This is where Umbrella picks you up. This is where the military picks you up. Okay, this is the cloning stages and the programming stages of your alters. Okay. The 20 and back program starts and I'm not going to say this is a hard and fast rule, but I haven't found this yet. But the 20 and back program starts only after the age of 9. Okay, so if you're younger than 9, you're doing other things. After the age of 9, that's when the 20 and back begins. And I should also say that the 20 and backs are not consecutive. So for instance, if you were 30 years old and if it was linear, you would only have been able to complete 120 and back, but that's not the case. What they do is they run 20 and backs concurrently. And so you could be 30 years old and completing your second 20 and back. So again, this is not, one right after the other. This is multiple going on at one time. And I should also say that the more 20 and backs that you are out on, the more confused or foggy, okay, your thinking patterns are. So if you're out on 2 20 and backs, okay, your consciousness is split, and people may have felt this, but you are it's almost like you're unable to think properly or be present, sleep well. I mean, there's a whole list of things that happen. So the more 20 and backs that you're on, the more mind confusion, the more, confusion, fogginess is going to happen. So just know that, okay? And it's, and there's really nothing that you can do about that, actually. Okay, so, and for my final point is that, when the 20 and back is finally over, they go ahead and they physically remove you, right, from the altar that you're, from the body, from the vehicle that you're currently in. They age regress you, and then they put you right back where you were about 15 minutes after they had taken you originally. So nobody knows that you're gone. Nobody knows anything. However, when you get dropped back off, they make sure that you're sufficiently mind controlled and brain scrambled. Okay. So when you arrive back home, you have, DID, dissociated identity disorder, you have combat level PTSD, and you have brain fog. And this is just the beginning. Okay. There's other things that start to come out when you come back home. So for instance, if you're a child of, 9 or 10 and, you know about physics, physics of space. Okay. So where did that come from? Well, it came from bleed through from one of your altars. And so children start having memories and flashbacks if the programming is not taking as well. So this is where people have memories and bleed throughs. And this actually is very telling, and it actually allows people to, investigate what's been going on with them. Okay, so so let me see. Let me go back to DARPA hashtag project, since I did miss that.
Let me go back up there.
Yeah, DARPA I'll just say that, I'll just quickly explain that. Okay, so the DARPA hashtag projects are, so DARPA is it's mostly extraterrestrial with very few humans and in this organization. And if you are in the DARPA hashtag projects, now the DARPA hashtag projects happen to be the worst, most violent, most vile projects that are running. They're so bad that DARPA doesn't even give them a name. Okay. And they're just called the hashtag projects. So if you've been in the DARPA hashtag projects, you have experienced unbelievable, just evil, absolute evil. And, again, the DARPA programming, if you're in the DARPA hashtag projects, you also have quite a bit of access to some of the off-world things that they're working on. Again, the internet was created by DARPA. Many of our weather modifications comes from DARPA. I mean, everything comes from DARPA. So I would say that if, that's a place to look if you've got really bad PTSD and you need to look into things, I would absolutely look into that. Rob?
Oh, my screen froze here. Yeah.
Your screen froze?
Yeah, I couldn't move it. Let me see here. You go to the last page.
Yeah, and that's it. This is it. So again,
This
If
was
you-
amazing, Kim. This was Kimberly. This was amazing. This was really good.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, if you think you might be a super soldier or a targeted individual or a Black Project inductee or a contactee, any of those items, I can help you. Okay, so reach out, look me up, supersoldiercoalition.org. This is what I do. And I'm hoping that, people that need help find me.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll stop sharing now. Yeah, well, thank you. And anything else you want to promote? And thank you, Kimberly. This was awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad. No, thank you for letting me go over. This is, it's been incredible. So I appreciate everything that you've done.
Guys, I'll be live again in a half hour with Anchor Haven. And I don't know. I feel like I got targeted during this show. I've been real like uncomfortable, and then nothing with you. Just like I've been real like I don't know. Like I feel like I'm jumping out of my skin for some reason, and I feel like I don't know. Like it's really weird. They do that sometimes, you know. I don't know.
No, you are no. Okay, well, okay. So I'm targeted. I have extreme targeting. Okay, and so I would assume that you would be targeted as well. And I am picking up that you are being targeted. CIA.
Yeah.
You're being watched very heavily, Rob, by the way.
I figured so. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Hey, do you know where you're from? Has anyone ever told you?
I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
No. It's from the stars.
Oh, I had a couple charts done. Someone told me I was from Speak Up before. I'm not quite sure completely, you know.
I am.
Where do you think I'm from?
Well, because I've spoke before, I was, talking to the extraterrestrials before I got on, and your family showed up, and they asked me to give you a shout out. You're from Lyra, and you are a cat being.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Of cats. Yeah. So we can go into that later too, Rob.
Yeah, we will. Let's do another show. I'll get a hold of you. We can schedule another one for real soon. We had a good turnout. We have 70 people watching on YouTube, and we had some people watching on Rumble too. So thank you, Kim. This was Kimberly. This was awesome.
Oh, great. I'm so glad, Rob. I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. I am too. And then this show was in honor of James Rink,
It was.
So we miss you, James, and we love you if you're out there watching from somewhere. And thank you, James Rink. Thank you, Kimberly. And I will see you guys all in a little bit. I'm going to go lay down for a little bit before my next show.